Okay, so we started this study club, I believe it was 2019, right before the pandemic. And the idea was for us to learn from our colleagues that are local, that are in this town. When I first started my practice here in 2015, I joined the Chamber of Commerce, and we had a networking group with all different business owners. And we presented on a rotational basis in that group. And it was wonderful because I got to know so many different types of businesses and the owners. I learned from them. And then I thought, why don't we have that at a professional dental level where we can learn from each other and really learn about what our neighbors, what their expertise are. So that was the idea of the study club, where when we would attend GM meetings, we learned a lot about speakers that were really well known, but really, you may not know about your oral surgeon colleague next door and what their really their expertise are, what they're good at, or the endodontist, or the prosthodontist, or the pediatric dentist, or the GP. Everybody has a niche, and that was the idea of the study club. We wanted to learn about our niche. So we started a study club, and it's been incredibly successful since then. We do present on a rotational basis. And I know presenting can be intimidating, but it could be something as simple as a case presentation, maybe a case you're proud of, or maybe a case you're not so proud of and you want to share with your colleagues and get their feedback. Or it could be a literature review. So there's a topic, let's say incipient caries is something you're interested in, and you can go research it and do a literature review and present on that topic. So you don't have to have photos, or I understand a lot of our GP colleagues, they don't necessarily take pictures on their cases. As orthodontists, we take a lot of photos. But so it may be hard to put together a presentation that involves photos. But in that case, you could do a literature review. So that was the idea of the study club. It is quite amazing how much you can learn and how much you can grow your knowledge of a topic when you go and research that topic. And that's something that we're good at when we're in school or residency or maybe a GPR, but we're not really doing it that much in our private practices. And that was something that I felt like I missed. So I welcome you. This is the first meeting of the Hygiene Study Club. I think it's wonderful. Thank you all for being here. I really hope that this will go far, this club, and you'll become members. And if you follow the model that we followed with our study club where we present, it's really a wonderful growing opportunity if you can present to your colleagues on a topic. That brings me to my next point. So we realize that presentations are inherently self-promotional. Any presentation you go, anyone that's talking about a topic, they have their own biases about that topic. So when you're researching a topic, try to look at where different, like who funded that research, what kind of study this is. Is it a case presentation? Is it a systematic review? Is it a, of course, the best research comes from randomized, controlled, double-blind studies, which they lack in dentistry in general for reasons of, for ethical reasons. But try to decipher fact from fiction when you're researching a topic. And that brings us to, this is a very appropriate topic for tonight's presentation. For better or worse, we live in the age of information. The internet and social media platforms they've also become a source of disinformation and misinformation. So we owe it to our patients on an ethical level to provide them with factual data on dentistry. And we owe it to ourselves on a professional level to really find out what works, what doesn't, the tried and true versus innovative approaches that are available to us. And people, that go and present on different topics, really, I encourage you, instead of I've been on this Facebook, on a lot of Facebook groups. I really look at what people are talking about. And a lot of what I see is not necessarily founded in research. So I really encourage you all to be able to look at that yourselves and to be able to decipher fact from fiction there. So I really hope that you all find this experience valuable, being part of this dental society. We often talk to our patients about finding a dental home and establishing a dental home. So I hope that you all consider this your professional home. With the San Mateo County Dental Society, they're a wonderful, wonderful resource. We are members of the CDA, which is the most powerful nonprofit organization in the world, actually, believe it or not. And they have very strong lobbying power, even at the national level, even. So we are part of that tripartite with CDA and ADA and the Dental Society. So this is your professional home. Use the resources available to you. Thank you to Nakia, Mike, and Jim for all your hard work. And I hope you'll find this valuable. Thank you for being here.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Andrew. So specialists, and it was great because they would take a rotating turn at presenting their case study expertise that we could all learn from. And what was nice is that the club setting was very comfortable and approachable to talk with the other people in the group, as opposed to being in a large convention in a lecture. I have a ton of questions and not never ever get them answered because there just wasn't time. The members were really familiar with each other. We have very educated professionals that were learning from one another, and they just really seemed to have upped their game and had patience from what they were learning from one another. So that's the purpose for me wanting to hopefully have a dental hygiene collaborative and enriching environment where we can come together and share our knowledge and enhance our skills, support each other. The club will serve as a hub for learning, growth, and community with the dental field and within the dental hygiene field. The main event, some of the goals for the study club are practice support by providing a space for us to present and discuss practices, adjunct therapies, and new technology, et cetera. Professional development by hosting workshops to gain insight into industry trends, additional knowledge, et cetera. Hands-on learning, to learn some our instrumentation techniques, that would be great. And the next two kind of go together: community engagement, collaborating with other local organizations, reaching out to schools, volunteering, of course, to build connections between professionals in the dental field and medical field. Collaborations. Yeah. Anybody want to volunteer and help me? So we're looking for 3 to 4 other people to help. There should be a list going around, aware of what's going on in the dental society in general, but also of upcoming meetings. And volunteer right now. You can reach out to the dental society at some point, hopefully soon. And anybody? Okay. All right. Well, if you need more time to think about it, that's fine. Social media and scary DIY dental trends. She's an RDH, has BS and a master's in education, years of clinical practice in the areas of periodontics, laser therapy, and guided bio and dental hygiene. Inspired by her love of teaching all things dental, she graduated with honors. In addition to practicing clinically, she has written articles for Today's RDH, Cocoa Flop, Dental Hygiene, and recently celebrated 7 years as a professional educator for Waterpick. She is a member of J and the AAP Dental Hygienist Recognition Program. Please welcome Cheryl Calmis.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so before I get started, just a couple of disclosures here. I don't have any leadership or financial relationship to disclose related to this continuing education activity, and I haven't altered any of the images or the videos that I used in this presentation. So this is social media and scary DIY dental trends. And the reason why I created this course is as Lauren, right? Did I get Lauren said, or Dr. Andrews said earlier that there's a lot of misinformation on various social media pages, including dental hygiene and dental related Facebook pages, where I'll see a post by a dental hygienist, and you know, you've just heard the term, you ask one question, you get 100 different answers. And I was starting to see a lot of misinformation. So that's the reason why I created this course, is to educate myself and the rest of the dental community that I present to, just what kind of information is out there. So before we get started, some learning objectives: be able to discuss the role of social media and the popularity of DIY dental trends and the motivation for doing a DIY dental trend. To be able to list topics of DIY dentistry available for viewing, explain the risks of DIY dentistry, and at the end, we're going to identify some strategies that we can bring back to our team to help educate our team and our patients about looking for dental professional help for their dental needs. So we're going to start this little video just to kind of get things going. And just because you watched it doesn't mean you should try it.
Does anyone on board know how to fly an airplane?
I got this. I have Sling TV, so I watch tons of shows and movies. You know that scene where the president has to fly the plane? I watch it a lot. Now, is the cockpit in the front or the back?
Sling lets you build your perfect channel lineup, so you get the live TV you love for just $35 a month.
Well, we start with this one. Nope, not that one.
With Sling, you're confident you get the best of live TV. Maybe too confident. Get your first month now for only $10. Sling.
All righty, so get your phones out. We have our first poll. And let's wait for the QR code to launch here. So go ahead. And as soon as you get to it, I will go ahead and here's the QR code here. And I'd like to know, which social media platform do you use for your information? Just choose one. I'll give you a couple seconds to go ahead and pick your choice, and we'll see what everybody's doing here. Okay. All right, looks like so far YouTube, okay, followed by Instagram. Okay, all right, still populating, okay. And none of the above, okay, some people aren't using social media, okay, great. All right, so DIY dentistry, DIY medicine, it's nothing new. We've been looking to healers, family members to help us solve our dental and medical problems, and I'm just gonna call your attention to this advertisement on the right here. This is from the late 1800s, Pike's Toothache Drops. If you had a toothache, you could go to your local chemist, your local pharmacist, get these drops, and according to this advertisement, save your teeth, okay? So in my spare time, I do like to cook, and I have a cookbook collection. I don't have this book here, but this book here, published in 1861 by Mrs. Isabella Beaton, was one of the first cookbooks published that had recipes in a logical order, much like we're used to now. Before that, recipes were handed down verbally, slips of paper, a cup to somebody necessarily didn't mean a cup to someone else. So Mrs. Beaton took it upon herself to publish these recipes. They had a title, they had the list of ingredients that were standardized, and instructions. So anybody who bought Mrs. Beaton's book could look at a recipe and hopefully make it to success. But in addition to recipes, we can see here in the back of her book, she includes some DIY medicine, DIY dentistry, and we're going to look at iron alum for an example here, popular pantry item during Mrs. Beaton's time. And according to this book, if you had a tooth extracted and it was still bleeding, you could take a couple grains of this iron alum, put it in your socket, and hopefully stop the bleeding. So this is just an early example of a popular pantry item and people looking for DIY dentistry. We're going to fast forward 100 years later. This is another book, and I'm not advocating any of these books, just kind of give us a little historical background. This is a complete book of dental remedies by Dr. Stay, 1996. And according to Dr. Stay, you could take some red clover, make a mouth rinse, swish your mouth out, and hopefully reduce some irritation to your gums, all right? So now we're gonna fast forward and we have social media. All right, so let's first define what is social media influencer. We've heard this term a lot, but what are they? So they are people, they have the power to affect our purchasing decisions because we look to them for authority, their knowledge. They post, certain things that have distinct niche, and they actively engage. So they post a lot of information. And it's important to know that these individuals, they are not merely marketing tools. Companies look to these influencers to help market their companies, their products, and the brands often collaborate with these influencers to achieve marketing objectives. And a couple months ago when they were talking about banning TikTok, the local news station that I was watching here said that the top tier TikTok influencers receive $90,000 per upload. So there's a big incentive for these influencers to keep putting out this information en masse. And because, they have a monetary incentive to produce this kind of information here. So this was a study that was published last year looking at how many of us are using social media. And we can see for 2025, it was reported that, or they kind of were looking at over 5.5 billion of us are using social media. Again, we're looking to these social media influencers for information based upon their reputation or their presumed knowledge on a topic. And again, these regular posts create large followings and people pay close attention to these influencers' views. So there's different types of influencers. There's celebrities. And I remember an example when I was a little girl, there was a famous athlete and he was using a commercial. And it was one of the first commercials where an athlete was used as an influencer. And the whole idea is if this product worked for this athlete, it would work for us. And it was a very successful advertising campaign. And as I did a little bit more research into this particular advertisement, it was really changed on how athletes, for example, are used to influence what we will purchase and what we will use. So in addition to celebrities, we have industry leaders, thought leaders, bloggers, and content creators, and micro-influencers. So these are smaller amount of people, might be you and me. So 90% are on Instagram, followed by TikTok, followed by Facebook. So just some statistics here to just give us an idea of how much information is being put on social media. So pictures posted on Instagram, over 1,000 per second. 50 billion pictures and videos are being posted per day. Top 5 industries with the highest engagement rates are higher education, sports teams, influencers, nonprofits, and alcohol. And the higher engagement rates are accounts with the more followers, likes, and comments. How many times have you watched a YouTube video, for example, and the person on the video says, welcome to my channel, subscribe, like, comment. All of this information that we are inputting into their channel goes to their algorithm. And this algorithm determines, how the social media platform will advertise them. They'll show up on your feed. And also, if you watch a video throughout and you don't, click away from it, this also goes to the social media presenter's algorithm. So a lot of information is going into these statistics here. So one of the first videos that I saw when I was researching this presentation, and this goes back, I started to do this about 2 years ago, was a gentleman who needed a filling and he couldn't go to the dentist, or he wouldn't go to the dentist. So he decided he was going to fill his own tooth, and he was going to upload this video so that other people could see how to fill a tooth. So the reason why he was doing it was he didn't have insurance. So 2022, CareQuest Institute for Oral Health did a survey of adults 18 and above and found that 77 million adults don't have dental insurance. Another research study found that the hashtag DIY dentist has over 3 million views on TikTok. So you can see people are looking at these videos. All right, so this is just an example of some YouTube video searches looking at orthodontic videos. What kind of videos are being uploaded to YouTube? And so we're also going to look at this right-hand side. This is our DIY category, and we can see these researchers found videos on the creation of fake braces, self-treatment with a rubber band for closing a diastema, self-removal of braces, and self-treatment with at-home commercial products. And we're going to start to look at some of this information here. So why are people looking for these videos? Why are they looking at social media? Well, we all want this beautiful, white, straight, pearly smile, right? So this was a study that was done by the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry in 2012, and they haven't done one since then. I did look, but we can certainly extrapolate that the information here can, is perfectly legitimate in 2025. So this infographic here, more than half of the people agreed that a smile is your most attractive feature, no matter what your age. 3 out of 5 would spend money to make sure that their smile is improved. And more women than men agree that a perfect smile makes you unappealing than a perfect person with a perfect smile. So your smile is your greatest asset, according to this 2012 whitening survey. So this young lady here, you can see she has a diastema between 8 and 9. And this video has over 400,000 views. So she's going to demonstrate to us how she used these elastic hairbands. So these are hairbands that you would buy, at your drugstore for putting in a ponytail. So she's going to show us how to close this diastema. All right, so we can see at the end of 3+ weeks, the diastema between 8 and 9 looks like it has been closed, right? And she seems pretty happy about that. But what does the research tell us about using these hair bands? Okay, this is a case study. This is an 11-year-old girl who presented to her dentist complaining of some mobility. 8 and 9 look like they were changing position. So we can see from the radiographs at the top, there's quite a bit of bone loss between 7 and through 10. The radiograph on the left, upper left, shows that the roots are being pulled together. The dentist asked the girl and her parents, was there any trauma? No trauma was reported. What could happen? And neither the girl or her parents said what had happened. So they decided to do some exploratory periodontal surgery. That's the photo that we can see on the bottom. And what are they pulling up here? It's one of those hair bands. It doesn't show up on the radiographs. And as they flapped the tissue, she had lost about 3 to 5 millimeters of bone. So what happens here? These hair bands, here we have somebody who doesn't have any kind of dental orthodontic education, decided to put these hair bands on their teeth, and unchecked, not knowing what they're doing, they actually migrated up underneath the gingival margin. So they work their way up and down the sides of the teeth. It destroys the bone. We have a foreign body here, okay? The teeth extrude. You can see that on the lower picture here. And teeth start to fan out. The coronal portion of the teeth are fanning out as those roots are being pulled together from those hair bands. And so, we're looking at a good potential of loss of teeth due to the destruction of the periodontal ligament and bone here, 3 to 5 millimeters of bone loss from using these hair bands. All right, next we have using a nail file to file teeth, and this is from Inside Edition from 2020.
Just because people do things on social media doesn't mean you should. And dentists around the country are horrified over a new TikTok trend, DIY tooth filing.
It's the social media craze that has dentists gnashing their teeth.
I'm gonna file my teeth down with a nail file because they're not perfect.
You heard right. People using a nail file on their teeth. My gosh.
This is the metal one I used. I originally used just a nail file and it wasn't working, so I moved to this.
16-year-old Aislinn Rendulic told me she tried DIY dentistry to fix her crooked teeth after seeing the technique on TikTok. Big mistake.
That just looking at it just is painful.
It was not painful when I did it, but as the days went on and I would drink cold drinks or ice cream, I felt a lot of sensitivity in my teeth.
19-year-old Mia Dio says she used a bargain basement nail file to smooth out her teeth.
I didn't go to a dentist because I am in what was at the time the epicenter of COVID-19, and I did not feel like leaving my apartment.
Never use a nail file to reshape your teeth.
Dentist Todd Bertman calls the practice horrifying and says it does irreparable damage to your enamel.
You're going to end up with sensitive teeth, pain, and probably root canals as well.
I wish I never did it.
Alrighty, so we have a case study here. This patient came into her dentist complaining of tooth sensitivity, and upon a detailed history, the dentist found out that she had, 8 and 9 were a bit longer than the adjacent teeth. So she found a beauty lifestyle video on YouTube where the influencer was showing how to use a nail file. So she decided she was going to take down just her own bite on 8 and 9. So we can see here on the integral picture on the right-hand side here that, she's just taken a lot of the enamel off here, okay? We can also see on the radiograph here, look how she's flattened that incisal edge, and look how close that pulp chamber is to the tooth. So no surprising that she came in with sensitivity. So what can happen here? Okay, we're taking off layers of enamel. We could look at some areas that are more prone to caries. Of course, sensitivity, okay, you go into that pulp chamber where the nerves are. You could be looking at some sensitive teeth, misaligned bite, gingival damage. How many of you in the Inside Edition video noticed that when they were using the nail file and they got really aggressive, they slipped a little bit? So if you're using that and you don't have control over that nail file, you could actually go into gingiva and do some damage. And of course, nerve damage. We can plainly see that's a great potential from that radiograph here. And of course, fractures. So not a good idea to be using those nail files to go ahead and, kind of shave down your teeth. Here's just a compilation of some other DIYs. Young lady on the left here also has a diastema between 8 and 9, and she bought some over-the-counter bonding material. So she decided she was going to close her own gap, and what she's holding there, that's an earring. One of her earrings, she took it, she straightened it out, and she applied it. She waited for a bit for this bonding agent to, I guess, light cure, self-cure, and she reported that after it was done, she had a lisp, and you could actually hear it in the video. Young lady in the middle decided that she was done with her orthodontics, so she took a soup spoon and popped out the orthodontics. So, and on the right-hand side here, that's someone having some dental work done. I'm not sure if it's veneers or some whitening done at an unlicensed place. So just a compilation here, some other DIYs. So faction braces, okay? This trend came out in countries where having braces, it's prestigious. It shows that your family has money, you have dental insurance. Being able to have braces in these areas of the country where There's not a lot of dental providers. So if you have actual braces, it's a status symbol. So in these areas, these kids decided they were going to make their own braces to look like they actually were going through orthodontic treatment. So you can see from this video, it has over 144,000 likes and about 17,000 people bookmarked it and said, you know what? I'm going to come back to this. This looks like a good idea. So let's go ahead and take a look at this
Fake
video.
braces tutorial. All you need is aluminum wire, earring backings, thermoplastic beads, and jewelry pliers to form and cut the wire. Cut the wire a little longer than you think you need. You can trim it later. Make sure to wash with soap before putting in your mouth. Straighten out the edges and deepen the curve to fit your mouth shape. You'll have to adjust it a few times to get it right. Snap on the earring backs, space them out and readjust until you get something like this. Try it on and cut so it fits comfortably around your teeth. Use thermoplastic to keep it in place. Put some beads in hot water. You don't need a lot. When it's clear, it's ready to mold. Wrap the plastic around the wire and bite down until it cools enough to hold its shape. Reheat or add more as you need.
Alrighty. So what are the risks of fashion braces? So in addition to this video, I have seen other ones where people have actually purchased pre-made, braces or something like this. Pre-made, came in a little Ziploc bag, probably from a really cheap online retailer. And in the other video that I didn't include, I saw a girl actually putting on these pre-made braces, and she proceeded to use a bonding agent. She had a little curing pen. So she was actually curing these already made braces onto her teeth. So, these are sold over the counter and online. Research has shown that if you bond them onto your teeth, it actually can encourage movement, even though this is just, a fake braces. The glues are often not strong enough. So if you are bonding it like the other video that I referenced and you're eating with this fake brace on your teeth, it could actually pop off. You could swallow it. The metals can cause gingival and mucosal damage. You saw from that video, part of the wire was sticking out from the thermoplastic beads. And if you're going to put this in your mouth, that's certainly going to cause some gingival or mucosal damage. The video that we saw, these were craft and hobby jewelry products. They're not meant for the oral cavity. So they're not made of medical grade materials. Did you notice just the debris on his hands? And yeah, and even the little, verbiage that he had there said, well, wash your hands because it doesn't taste good. Well, no kidding. This is, these are meant for bracelets, necklaces, and earrings. It's not meant for your mouth. They're not certified for regulating bodies. They're affixed without proper orthodontic, periodontal, or radiographic assessment. They can cause damage to the teeth. If you're bonding them on and you're done, you're bored, you want to change the color and you have to get them off, you could actually fracture and damage some teeth. And the materials have been shown to be of inferior quality. Okay, there's no surprise there. And when they've tested some of the materials, especially from these online retailers, they've found toxic metals such as cadmium that these braces are been fabricated out of. So picture, you have somebody who maybe has less than desirable oral hygiene. We've got some inflammation. We might even have some bleeding gums. You put this toxic metal into your mouth, it's going to get taken up by the inflamed tissue and end up into your blood system. So you could be causing yourself some serious illness by fashioning these braces.